Okay, so you know how everyone's been talking about this book, Can't Hurt Me?
Right.
And you're like, all right, is it worth my time?
Yeah, is it all hype?
Exactly. What am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
And like, does it even apply to me, like running 100 miles with broken bones?
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to do a deep dive on Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
All right, let's do it.
And we have our expert here to help us unpack all this. And
Oh,
yeah, so what, like right off the bat, when you read this book, what really stood out to you?
well, I mean, it's funny you mentioned the 100 miles with broken bones because I think that story right in the beginning really kind of throws you into the deep end with Goggins.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, he's not messing around. He's telling you right away, I did this crazy thing. And the whole point of that is to kind of lead into this concept he talks about called the 40% rule.
Okay, so the 40% rule, we hear that thrown around a lot, like in the self-improvement world.
Right.
But what does it mean?
Yeah. So essentially what Goggins is saying is that we're all capable of so much more than we think we are, mentally, physically. And we tend to kind of hit this wall at about 40% of our potential.
Yeah.
And that other 60% is just kind of like left untapped because we let fear or doubt or our comfort zones just hold us back from really going after what we want.
So it's not just a physical limitation, it's like a
Absolutely.
mental barrier as well.
Yeah, and he really emphasizes that mental toughness piece a lot in the book, because he's saying that we all have these governor beliefs,
Yeah.
these things that we tell ourselves that hold us back, and we need to kind of confront those and push past them if we want to reach that other 60%.
Yeah, it's making me think like, where am I hitting my 40% wall like in my life, and how do we even, you know, begin to like break through that wall?
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the book is that he doesn't just kind of like throw this concept at you and say good luck. He actually gives you some tools.
Oh, nice.
He talks about callousing the mind, so intentionally putting yourself in difficult situations, whether that's, ice baths or grueling workouts or whatever it is that kind of pushes you beyond your comfort zone.
Right, right.
But he also talks about the importance of self-reflection, taking the time to really understand what are those governor beliefs that are holding me back? What are those things that are making me hit that wall at 40%? So it's kind of a two-pronged approach,
Interesting.
both the physical and the mental.
So would you say like he's really big on mental toughness?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's interesting because, you read about this.
Right.
Like running 100 miles on broken legs, not exactly, average self-improvement advice.
Right. And I think that is one of the criticisms that people have had of the book is that, Goggins is an extreme example.
Right.
And not everybody is going to resonate with that level of intensity. And, there's a risk of people pushing themselves too hard and potentially, burning out or even, injuring themselves if they try to kind of blindly follow in Goggins' footsteps.
For sure. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, he talks about, self-harm or, getting to that point where you push yourself too hard.
Right.
But the takeaway, I think, for me, and maybe you can speak to this as well, is that it's more about finding your own 40%.
Exactly.
It's not about like you have to run 100 miles with broken legs or, do these insane things, but it's like find where you are limited.
Right.
Find where those barriers are for you and then apply some of his tools and techniques to push past those.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's about understanding the mindset, because I think Goggins really exemplifies this belief that we're capable of so much more than we think we are. And, it's not about comparing yourself to him or trying to replicate his exact journey.
Yeah.
It's about taking that inspiration and applying it to your own life.
So, okay, say someone's listening to this. They're not training for ultra marathons or anything like that. Like, where can they apply this in their day-to-day life? Like, can you give me a concrete example?
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's say you're someone who's terrified of public speaking, which is a very common fear.
Oh, yeah.
For a lot of people, your 40% in that area might be, giving a presentation to a small group of people that you know really well.
Right.
But to push past that, you might decide to join Toastmasters or volunteer to speak at a community event or even just practice in front of the mirror more often. It's about taking those small steps to kind of incrementally push that comfort zone.
I love that, like finding those small ways to kind of challenge yourself and build that mental muscle.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it sounds like Can't Hurt Me. It's less about like a specific method that you follow, and it's more about like a mindset shift, a way of thinking.
Exactly. It's about cultivating self-awareness,
Yeah.
And questioning your limitations and then having the courage to kind of go beyond them, even if it's just a little bit at a time, Goggins' this story is meant to be inspiring, not necessarily a blueprint to follow blindly.
Okay, so for the listener out there who's thinking, okay, should it pick up Can't Hurt Me?
Yeah.
Like, what's the final verdict from you?
I would say if you're looking for a quick fix or like easy answers,
Hmm.
this is not the book for you.
Right.
But if you're ready for a raw and honest and potentially life-changing, kick in the pants, then absolutely give it a read.
Yeah.
Just remember to kind of take what resonates with you, adapt it to your own life and find your own way to kind of break through those self-imposed barriers.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice. I mean, Can't Hurt Me. It's a really powerful book. It kind of just reminds you that you have way more potential than you realize.
Yeah.
And so as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with this. What's one area in your life where you feel like you're stuck at 40%? What would it look like to push past that limit? Even just a little bit, you might surprise yourself.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe you'll end up running 100 miles.
Uh-huh. Maybe not.
One day.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.